Beating Obesity with Jim Caldwell. Let food be thy medicine. As a reminder, here are my before and after pictures. Hello, today I want to dedicate a video to a man with a truly incredible story. His name is Jim Caldwell, and he was a man who was morbidly obese. He was 352 pounds and using some of the same, basically the same techniques and everything that I've used to lose around 80 pounds. He used those same things to lose 180 pounds. His story is very similar to mine, except I started at 250 pounds. He started at 352 pounds, a good 100 pounds heavier, and lost 100 pounds. We're both at roughly the same weight right now, but he started out 100 pounds heavier than me, and he lost like 180 pounds. And he has his own YouTube channel called Beating Obesity. And I stumbled onto that during my journey when I was trying to get my weight under control. Mainly, my goal was to get my blood sugar under control. I don't recall if he had issues with his blood sugar. I'm thinking at 352 pounds, he probably did, but I don't recall whether that was part of his story or not. But he definitely was morbidly obese and needed to get things under control, and he did. And his story is really, really inspiring. I'm going to put a link to his channel, which again is called Beating Obesity, and I'll put a link to that in the description of this video. And I really recommend that if you have started a journey like this, this will keep you going. His story will keep you going because it's very, very inspiring. It helped keep me going for sure, because I ran into it pretty early on in my own journey. And Jim, like I say, was 352 pounds. He had struggled with his weight for years and had tried different things to lose weight. And he talks about the typical yo-yo dieting of maybe losing 15 pounds or so and then gaining 20 or 25 back eventually, and just never being able to gain success in his weight loss goals. And Jim's very analytical, very smart, very analytical guy. And so his channel's interesting to watch. He loves to use spreadsheets and graphs and everything to show how his own personal journey occurred. And I think you'll really enjoy tuning in to his channel and watching it, whether you're in the middle of a journey like this or thinking of starting one. You'll learn a lot from him. When he first started out, he didn't have a clear plan. He first started out trying to do just doing calorie restriction, which a lot of people try to do for weight loss. And he found the same thing that I've found, and that most people find when they just try to do calorie restriction, is that it's not sustainable. You feel real deprived and you just can't sustain it for very long. And that he reached that point pretty quickly. And then he thought he would try fasting. At some point in there with the fasting, he discovered Dr. Jason Fung's book, Dr. Jason Fung's first book called The Obesity Code. And, I discovered Dr. Jason Fung just before I started my journey, and his books were a real inspiration to me too. I got all three of his books, but I mainly focused on the Diabetes Code, which is very similar to his first book, the Obesity Code. But since I was concerned about blood sugar and all, I really focused on, I read all three of his books, but I really focused on the information in the Diabetic Code. But anyway, Jim, it was like, he describes it like a light bulb coming on when he read Dr. Fung's book. And he noticed something that I noticed too. Dr. Fung talks about it being almost more important when you eat than what you eat. Of course, what you eat is important too, but that focus on when you eat as being almost more important than what you eat was a big deal for Jim. Early on, he tried a 14-day fast. He didn't start out to do a 14-day fast. He was just trying to see if he could fast for a couple of days or whatever, and it turned into a 14-day fast, and he lost 24 pounds during that 14-day fast. After he started eating again, he gained 3 back, but he still had a net loss of 21 pounds for his efforts there. And so, he became, and he said that his whole mindset on food changed after that 14-day fast, where before he had no control over eating, and he now felt like he was the boss over food. He didn't use that word, but he now had control over how he eats and when he eats, because he realized that he could go for 14 days without eating. The only thing he did during his 14 days was drink water and black coffee. That's it for 14 days. It's doable. I've never done that long a fast. I did about 3 48-hour fasts during my initial period, 2-day fasts, 48 hours. And then I did a couple of 72-hour fasts as well. And I saw great results as well. It wasn't real easy doing the 72-hour fast. I used bone broth a few times during my 72-hour fast, and that was very helpful. It doesn't break your fast. It doesn't stimulate insulin, which is what you're doing with the fasting. You're kind of doing a reset on your pancreas and everything, and bone broth and black coffee and water, of course, don't break your fast. In fact, it's important to stay hydrated during a fast. So at least drinking water. A lot of people will do just a water only fast. They only drink water during a prolonged fast like that. But during that time, and with studying Dr. Fung's book, he came on the idea of eating 1 meal a day, which I did too. Very similar story, mine and his, and he adopted that pattern after his 14-day fast. Not immediately. I think he had 7 days where he kind of ate, more than like maybe 3 meals a day or something for about 7 days, and then began doing the 1 meal a day, which for me, and probably for Jim as well, it was actually a 1-hour window. It wasn't just sitting down for 15 minutes and then you're done for the next 24 hours. It was like a 1-hour window, and you can kind of, you go 23 hours without food and then 1 hour eating. And you can kind of plan that 1 hour window pretty carefully. Jim also discovered during that period that he needed to cut out carbohydrates. And years before that, he had read Dr. Robert Atkins' book and started remembering a lot of that about going low carb. And I could say the same thing myself. I began, back 25 years ago or whatever, I had bought Dr. Atkins' book and had lost 35 pounds doing it, and had great success, felt great. But then everybody started scaring me, saying, "Oh, that's a very unhealthy diet," and all this kind of stuff. And I listened to too many people. I should have listened to my own body, because I did great with Atkins. But anyway, Jim, went with the low carb during his 1 hour eating window, or his 1 meal a day, and did go with the 1 meal a day for quite a while. And long story short, he lost 180 pounds and did a big part of his weight loss without any exercise. And that's my story too. I lost my 80 pounds without exercise. And I think exercise is great if I had more time to exercise. And I plan to work exercise into my program more and more now, because I do have a lot more energy and a desire to be really healthy. And Jim, after losing quite a bit of weight, I'm not sure exactly where on his scale, but I think he was about 6 months in before he started exercising. He started walking and then started running. I'm not sure if he's run a marathon, but I know he runs in a lot of these organized races now. And he's roughly around 170 pounds now. I'm around 175, but he's a runner now. You know, he runs in a lot of races and everything. And I believe Jim's in his 50s. I'm 64. And I haven't considered running marathons, but I have considered more. I started doing push-ups and some other exercises like that, some resistance type exercises, and I feel like that's beneficial. But Jim, you really need to check Jim out. He's a very, very inspiring guy. I wrote down some notes here. I want to be sure I didn't really miss anything. Yeah, since he started out at 352 pounds and he lost over half of his body weight. Now, just think about it. By losing 180 pounds, I think at one point he had lost 185 pounds and then kind of settled out at 180 pounds. But, you know, he lost over half of his body weight, and that's just amazing. It's affected his health in a huge way. And he started his YouTube channel hoping to be able to help others. He was just sure that there's other people out there who had struggled with their weight like he did and perhaps were morbidly or are morbidly obese, and he had a desire to help those people. And he said everywhere he goes, he has people asking him, you know, if they had known him before, and now if they even recognize him, they want to know how he did it. And so he started his YouTube channel to be able to answer a lot of those questions and do it in a detailed way. I felt the same way when I mean, my channel's only about 10 days old, maybe 2 weeks by now, but it's very, very new. Only 21 subscribers. Jim's got thousands of subscribers. Has a lot of people interested in his story, and I may never have more than 100 subscribers, but one of my main motivating reasons was I have, at my office and stuff, I have a lot of people ask me what I did and how I did it, and it's hard and, you know, in a short period of time to explain it all. But by making these videos, I can refer people to my channel and they can see what I did, and they can disagree with it, they can criticize it, but they'll never turn me away from the lifestyle that I've adopted now, because I feel so much better. I sleep better. I have so much more energy. All my lab work has improved dramatically. I don't take medications anymore. I used to take quite a few medications. I used to sleep with a CPAP for sleep apnea. I don't need that anymore. It's transformed my life. I feel like a new man, and nobody's going to talk me out of it. But at any rate, his channel again is called Beating Obesity, and I'll provide a link below in the description of this video. And I would really recommend that you check out his channel. His name is Jim Caldwell, but his channel is called Beating Obesity. Thank you. Again, these are my before and after pictures, 82 pounds difference. Let food be thy medicine. And we've been beating obesity with Jim Caldwell today.